You can give people this experience where they actually feel a change, or they look in the mirror and they see an immediate change, so that when they come back the next day, they're already thinking, this works. This person is going to help me.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we take regular clinic owners and turn them into cash-based multimillionaire entrepreneurs. Warning, if you're a doctor who listens to this podcast regularly, you will make millions of dollars. Do not listen to this podcast unless you want to be a successful clinic owner who helps thousands of patients achieve their health goals and adds more money than you can imagine to your bank account. You've been warned.
Welcome to episode 113 of the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we give you the exact tactics, strategies, and mindsets you need to fulfill your destiny by helping thousands of people in your community and dominating your market and your life. I'm one of your hosts, Rory Morgan, along with fellow hosts Jennifer Gligoric and Tracy Sundkvist. And by the end of today's episode, you will know how to understand exactly how to design a patient journey, which results in better outcomes for your patients and more income for your bottom line. So what we're going to be talking about today is it possible to predict and know what patients need and to actually think through the process of handling the journey that a patient goes through from the first moment they interact with you and the expectation is set all the way down to the point at which they're completing care and they're getting the outcome that they're after. And maybe they're referring you patients and they're referring their friends to you. And basically, can you script that out and design a process in which it maximizes referrals, maximizes 5-star reviews, maximizes video testimonials, and maximizes income to your bottom line?
Thanks, Rory. I think where this really starts for me is actually not so much in the patient experience, but it actually starts in your strategy. Because your strategy, the strategy that you want to position, is a high ticket offer. As soon as you have that as a strategy, you need to have a patient experience that is going to match it. I mean, if you're providing a crappy service, if they come in and they have to wait and it's dirty and it's chaotic and they can't find your paperwork, they don't know who you are, they don't have your appointment, that is how they're going to remember you. No matter how amazing the results you get them, they're going to remember all these details. Now, a good friend of mine in marketing once said that when it comes to marketing, everything communicates. And this is really where your patient experience or your client journey needs to communicate that you are professional, that you have all of your ducks in a row, you know exactly what you're doing. You are the expert in this area. And of course, this is something that you need to document. Because if you don't document it, you're not going to be able to train your team to do it. You're not going to be able to test whether it's being done or not. So this entire process supports this person in making the best buying decision for them, which means the buying decision doesn't happen just on the day when you say, hey, I can fix you. Do you want to sign up? It happens right from that very first touch point. And that's really what it is we're going to dig into today.
Yes. And to go more into that, when we're talking about, we talk to clinic owners, right? And so our people in general are now looking for outcomes-based care. So they're coming to you specifically because they have a unique problem. They feel that you have told them in your marketing and your ads that you are uniquely positioned to solve for them. And they're looking for you to solve that problem. They're not in there to come in and just, if you're a chiropractic clinic, let's say, to come in and have adjustments forever. Right? They want you to fix a pain point that they have. If you're a med spa, there are skin elasticity issues. There's either wrinkling, there's frowning, there are sunspots, everything there's a pain point and they're coming to you to help them for that. So there is an outcome. So you want to think about that outcome and what it costs and what you're worth to fix it to that outcome. That's where you come up with your pricing. And so once you have that price, which we all do, I want to be charged $2,500 for this service, and then this is the outcome they'll get. Well, that's great. great. But think about that patient journey, the how. Look at the journey from the first touch point, the first time they hear about you, why that they choose you over anyone else, and then all the different touch points that you have through that. And there's different patient journeys. You have that initial early patient journey. That's when, we're talking about lead generation, right? Getting the lead into the door so that you have the opportunity to sell them a service, you sell them, and then they become a client. Then you have a fulfillment journey. All the times they're coming in and you're getting them to that outcome. And then you have a post-fulfillment journey, which is when you can do upsells, referrals, maybe even keep them on a wellness plan. And you still have to define each parts of these journeys. And everyone on your staff needs to know, well, that's Sally. She's at this part of the journey. This is what we're working on. This is our protocol for someone who is doing this with us at this part of the journey. Did you want to say something, Rory?
Well, there's two things that we're talking about, two concepts that very tightly overlap on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the first concept is that you've got to sell an outcome, right? So,
yes.
So people have been going to the doctor or the med spa or, their nurse or whatever. And the essential idea there has been, well, I'm practicing medicine. So it's not patient-centered. The doctor doesn't sit down there and say, hey, Mary, what would you like to accomplish together? What are your goals, right? Basically, Mary comes in and says, this is my symptom, and doctor prescribes a medicine and says, well, try this, right? Doctor prescribes, so let's take it more to a med spa situation. I don't like my skin. I don't like these wrinkles. Okay, let's try this amount of Botox, right? It's just very, very rote. It's very, very impersonal. But what keeps happening is Mary keeps going to the med spa and she keeps needing other things. And she keeps she gets the Botox and she's like, well, yeah, that's better, but I'm still not happy. And she gets the Juvederm but I'm still not happy. Or yeah, I get the adjustments for my back, but I still am not living a fully experienced, fully embodied, experienced sensation of wellness in my life, right?
Yeah, and we're not saying that this patient keeps on coming back to the same clinic.
It's other clinics.
Yes, it's other clinics. They're shopping around. They're a la carting because you have an a la carte commodity service, right? Yes. So I can get a shot here. I'll get an adjustment there. I'll just go on Groupon and I'll shop all the specials each week and I'll go in and then I'll get this. And eventually, hopefully, maybe I'll get my thing fixed to what I really, really want. Rather than you're taking them down a very specific thing, you're finding out what they're really wanting, and then you're selling them on a higher ticket item to get them there, to truly be their healthcare professional that's getting them to the goal. That's what people are going to really pay for. And that's when they're going to get the best possible results because you're there seeing how the treatments are working and getting them to this goal rather than having them go, well, maybe I'll save $5 here. And then if I go and shop this special over here, eventually, if I only need 12 adjustments, then I could do 12 $21 specials. And I'll just be very aggressive on that. But then they never get an outcome of actually getting out of the pain that they have or having a real treatment plan.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
this actually works everywhere. It doesn't just work in the medical space. So if you think of the difference in the experience between someone who wants to go and buy a piece of jewelry, if they go to Sears, that's going to be one kind of experience where you literally just pull it off the hook and you take it to the checkout, you pay for it, and that's the experience. Compared to a Tiffany's type of experience, when you're positioning a higher price point, you need to have the experience that is going to support it.
Yes. Yep. And what we're talking about is the concept of making the shift from focusing on your treatments, your services, to becoming the most trusted advisor in that person's life for that area of their life. Right. So, if you're a doctor, you're not going to become their consultant for, interior design, but you want to position yourself, and not just position yourself, but actually be and embody this as really the most trusted health expert for that person's health needs and for their entire family, right? They go to you as like, I go to Dr. Rory when I have a question about my health, right? And I go to Dr. Rory to keep my family healthy, right? And when you position yourself, you go from being someone who can sell them an adjustment, or someone who can sell them a skincare treatment, or someone who can do some random thing, to having an actual fiduciary duty where you have a real responsibility to them to give them the best possible result. And that's a completely different conversation. And it's obviously a completely different experience when they walk in the door with you.
Yeah, and how you do this is actually a lot easier than it sounds. When you think about the experience coming into the clinic now, you've probably focused a lot on software, right? Somebody's going to come in, you're going to type their name in here. You're going to make sure that this information's right here, and then we're going to check them in. You're going to write this box, not just software, but just the most basic things. Get them in here, put them in the system, get their file in here. The doctor sees them. We're going to talk to them. Then we're going to go to the next patient. Right? You can still have that experience because you have to, right? We need notes. You need to put things into our EHR program, and you need to move files and different things like that, or call the labs or whatever. So imagine if you layer just on what you're doing and you're putting the other things to make that a better experience for the patient from the first time they called. When we answer the phone, we're going to have call control. That's like one of the first things you can do. We're not going to have them ask us questions. We're gonna say, ABC Clinic, this is Jennifer. Who am I speaking with? I'm taking control of that call immediately and asking a question. I'm being friendly, I'm being positive, but I'm in control of this. My job is a professional scheduler. If I need to answer a question, I can, or I'll arrange for someone else to call them back if it's a patient. But if it's a new patient, then the show is on. My job is to get them into a seat because I can't help them. I can't fulfill my destiny of helping all these people come in and get helped until that person sees a clinician. And so it's just the attitude of that, and defining that attitude, defining how you want your front desk to behave on that. If you never say it, then they'll say, doctor's office, how may I help you? And they'll go, well, I don't know how you can help me. And it's a meandering conversation.
Do you take my insurance? How much does it cost? They're in control.
Yeah, they're in control of that. And then they're going to be looking at you as some commodity, and the person is just, chewing their gum or whatever. And then they go on to the next call. Right. So when everything is truly defined, then you have a system in place, and you can do that for every little touch point for the person. And you think about when it's that experience, and when you've experienced that as a consumer, whether it's the elevated Tiffany's experience or it's, anything that you've done, you automatically are price checked. You're price conditioned. Whoa, this is going to be something. And you're already elevating what you're willing to pay for it in your head too. Yep. Right. And then you're also getting your hopes up. Oh, this is going to be a really good experience. Right. Mm-hmm. And so you want your patients to be doing that as well.
Yeah. And that dovetails nicely into the second concept, right? That I said overlaps, right? So we're talking about how you're creating this experience. And the thought I want you to have in your mind, if you're listening right now, is experts, like someone who you can truly trust as an expert, you follow their lead, right? So the experts are leaders, right? Now I might be an expert in, I don't know, athleticism, because I used to be an athlete, and I might be able to train kids. They're going to follow my lead in that area, but it doesn't mean that I'm always leading. I'm not leading if I'm learning, if I'm going to purchase a new house. I'm going to let my real estate agent lead, and I'm going to ask, I'm going to try to fill in the gaps. Right. And I want my real estate agent to be the leader. If I have a real estate agent that just doesn't really know where to show me, doesn't know what right questions to ask, doesn't know how to find out what my desires are by asking the right questions, I'm not going to end, he's not going to inspire a whole lot of trust. If it's just kind of like, well, oh, okay, you want a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom? Okay, I'll show you some 4-bedroom, 3 bathrooms, right? It's like he's not positioning himself as my most trusted expert or herself, right? So what that dovetails into is, okay, so we know we want to have this mindset and we want to think about it this way. People, so your team, all people basically they follow scripts. Everyone follows a script. So if you don't script out the process, the people on your team will create their own script. They will say the same thing to every patient, but the problem is it will be what they made up instead of what you made up, right? We all do this, right? Just give the phone to your receptionist and say, hey, run the best call you can. She will do 3 or 4 calls. She might try a couple different things, but by the 5th or 6th call, and then for the next 2,000 calls, she's going to say the exact same thing. So you might as well start by scripting everything out. You might as well say, hey, these are the points, the touch points in the journey that are important. This is a key activation point where we want to make sure that we're achieving a certain goal. This is what we say. This is how we do it. This is the treatment we give that's going to feel the best, that's going to make them most excited so that they want to give a referral. All of these things have to be thought out. And I want to give you an example because we're working on a project right now for a clinic that we're building. And we have scripted out the entire patient journey. I believe we're over 20 pages long on that journey, if I'm not mistaken. It's at least 15.
Yeah, it's a lot. And Tracy's been working on it too. And it's because when you think about each day to keep a patient onto a treatment plan when life is hitting them, some patients, it's hitting them so hard. And you've got to have them either take the medications, take the supplements, do the exercises, put that cream on their face or whatever they've got to do. And you need to keep them motivated throughout that process. And the more you can help them and remind them of the end game, right? The end goal of what they're trying to achieve and why it's important that they do this today, then the more apt they are to stay on that treatment program or lose the weight or, really do that exercise and stretching to where, they will be out of that in pain, what they came in for. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of our clients push back on scripting. What they come up with is they feel that it's going to be mechanical or insincere. It's just not going to sound right. But the right script is an incredibly powerful thing to make sure that your processes are scalable and that no matter who you bring in, the patient is going to experience the same kind of care. So you can have a bad script, and then of course there's going to be a bad experience. The trick isn't in the script. The trick is in having a great script that is going to elevate their experience.
Yep.
And the patient doesn't know what you're going to say. You can't mess it up. I've dealt with so many salespeople who are like, well, I don't know. And they're going to, no, they're not. Even if you mess up, you just keep on trying. It's a lifelong skill to get it right. So you're never going to get it 100% right. No one will, right? You're just always going to be improving. It's always going to evolve over time. It's something you just have to understand and accept. This is a skill that we're all going to have to work on. We're going to have great conversations to lead our patients so that they are committed and they can get to the goal that they say they want.
Yep. I remember when I finally, I started growing up and I started becoming a man and I started having a little bit of money to go to a nice restaurant, right? And I went to this restaurant in Las Vegas when I was at a trade show, right? Wonderful steakhouse. And, the first time I went there, the waiter comes out, right? And it's like, hey, the chef wanted you, right? The chef wanted you to try this. It's our new whatever, right? And they give you this gift. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then it's like, hey, here's a drink, you ordered this, and they have this whole thing. You ordered this, and so I thought you might like this, right? And there's this whole thing that they're taking you through. And then I go back to the same trade show the next year, and they did the exact same thing. And I was like, oh, it's a script, right? But it felt so amazing and I felt so taken care of, right, on that first one. And you have to remember, your patients aren't going through your new patient process 14 times. They're going through it once. It feels scripted to you. It doesn't feel scripted to them. Right? And that's what you have to realize is that this is new for them. They're the ones coming to the first time for you. And so you have to understand, like, think of it not as scripting, think of it as orchestration. You're orchestrating an experience.
Yeah, you're
Right.
setting the stage for them to understand and have value in what you do. You know, if you want it to be cohesive, you want your ad, if you say modern and state of the art, when they come in, you want them to notice that you have modern state of the art computers. You don't have all old CRT, screens and a dot matrix printer. Most people don't even know what that is, but it's going
Yeah. I
anyway,
remember those.
yeah. So
How's it going, Jennifer?
okay, we're not going to that. Okay, and then you won't have water stains on the ceiling, And we're not saying you have to have $1 million makeover, but you want to be cohesive because you want their head from your ads to them walking in to be nodding up and down. There's a reason that when we work with clients, we have them do videos in a video funnel for new leads because they're already seeing you before they walk in the door and their head's going, oh, I remember that desk. I remember that guy. That's the same guy. And they're nodding up and down and they're automatically this automatic trust that's being built rather than this is not what I thought it was going to be like. This doesn't seem like the same place at all.
Yeah.
So you want to be thinking of those things when you're building this so that you're building who you are and what your values are and what you're bringing to the table so that when it comes down to you saying, okay, so we're going to get you here and that, that this is how we're going to do it. When did you want to get started? This is the cost for that. They're like, well, and they say, yeah, I want to get started, or I would do this today, but I'm a little worried about financing. Well, okay, well, we can put you into financing. The question is, well, I don't really trust you or value it because, you lost my name. You couldn't remember who I was. Everything's a mess. The experience has already told them you're going to get them there. And that trust has been built.
Yeah. So let's get into the brass tacks, right? Now, let's just be clear. I have to reiterate this, even though we've already been doing it because I see it so often. The important thing is the mindset, I want to do this and I believe in this. I am going to deliver an outcome and it's going to be an amazing outcome and I'm going to deliver this type of experience because I can give you the tactics. But if you aren't committed at the level of our whole clinic is going to embody this energy and we're going to be this type of clinic, the tactics aren't going to work. Right? You can sit here and copy word for word what I give you, and it's not going to work. So I just have to reiterate that again and again to people. The important part is what we've been talking about so far. So because we have other episodes that you can go back and listen to, and we'll do more in the future, we're not going to get specifically into, okay, a lead is generated. What does the phone call sound like? Right? But you've got to have the phone call scripted out. When you confirm that appointment the day before, what does that phone call sound like? Yes, it has to be scripted out. You have to know what you're going to say, right? What does the text message say? Yes, it has to be, but all of this has to be planned out. And we're going to skip through that because I know that you guys know that's important. And I want to get into, and again, there's other episodes where you can learn those details. But what I want to get into is basically specifically like how do you shift once they're in the clinic, how do you give them a different experience? What are the things you actually want to do? Okay. So there's some really obvious ones, which are orchestrate the experience so that everything is clean. I can't tell you how many offices I've walked into where it's like, okay, step one is that poster over there that's supposed to be on the wall, but is laying in the corner, like wadded up, like rolled up in the corner. Let's pick that up and put it on the wall. What we are doing when we walk into any new environment, you have to like go walk into a new business yourself and experience this. If you go into a new restaurant you've never been to, And especially if it's a new type of restaurant, right? You've never been to Vietnamese food before. And so you go, oh, I'm going to go try out a Vietnamese restaurant or whatever. Pay attention to how you're experiencing that. What you are doing, because you're a human being, is you have like your eyes open wider than normal. You're looking around more than you usually would. You're paying attention for signs of, is this a good restaurant or not? Like, is it dirty? You kind of try to peek back into the kitchen. You're looking around, right? You're looking at how the waitresses and waiters carry themselves. This is what you do. So understand that's what people do when they come into you. Any new environment, they're looking for this stuff, right? Next thing, greet them by name. Oh, hey, you must be Jennifer. I'm so glad to meet you. Get up from behind the desk, walk up and give them a hug. It's so great to have you here. I'm so excited to meet you. It just changes the experience because you know who's coming in because they're on the schedule. You can't just wait for them to walk up to the front desk. Oh, hey, welcome to XYZ clinic. What's your name? Right? Oh, let me look. And then you look them up in the computer. It's just such a lame experience. You give them their new patient paperwork and they go sit down, walk over to them and hand them a drink, right? Have a water, whatever you have, right? A sparkling water and a still water, right? Like sparkling or still. Hey, do you prefer sparkling or still water? Like put it right in their face and offer it to them. They're perfectly welcome to say, no, thank you, I'm not thirsty. But what most people do is they're going to choose one, and then that creates reciprocity, right? They feel like, oh man, these people are so generous. They're thinking about me. They care about me. And so right from the beginning, you can create an experience that is completely different.
And you can also use it as a branding point because you can get water bottles branded.
True.
Just putting it out there.
100%. Yep. That separates you and differentiates you, right? It's like, oh, this clinic has their own XYZ clinic water. They must be really special, right? And this creates status in our minds. It's like, wow, this is the special clinic that has its own brand of water, right? Even if people know what's going on, it still feels cool.
Yeah, it does. And depending on what your high ticket is and how big your high ticket thing is, that's how you want that experience to be. You do not want to have a $4,500 or $15,000 high ticket thing, and they walk in and there is, bulletproof glass, and there's a ton of nurses behind the glass that are talking to each other. They have to knock on the glass, and then they go, "Oh, okay, we'll get to you in a second. Put your name on the list," and they're pointing at a thing. I mean. Yep. This isn't the charity hospital that you're waiting for 9 hours to see. We're talking to clinic owners. So if you've come from, and a lot of front desk people come from that environment, we have to switch that up, and have it to be a little bit elevated experience.
Yep. So then what you actually do on that first day is, instead of having an hour-long conversation, you respect their time and you have a very simple consult. Hey, tell me why you came here. What kind of pain are you dealing with? Tell me what's going on with your skin or your, whatever it is that you want to improve about your beauty. What do you not like? Get the symptoms. What's going on with you? When they tell you that these are their symptoms, these are their issues that they're unhappy with, instead of going into how does it make you feel? Oh my gosh, like tell me more about that. How's that affecting your life? Say, okay. You definitely sound like someone that we help a lot. As a matter of fact, you remind me of Marco. Marco was in here 2 months ago. He was dealing with the exact same thing. And here's the result he's gotten. Is it okay if I explain to you a little bit about how we did that with him and how we do this, right? Then they're going to say yes. And then you give them what we would call your line it up presentation. And what this does is it communicates to them, here's the problems we help with. Here's what causes those problems. What we do is we focus on the root cause. We don't just treat symptoms. We don't just do treatments. We get people real long-lasting results. And here's our process for doing that. The way we do that is we do X, we do Y, and we do Z. And this is how we get such amazing results. And here's a before and after. And here's Marco, here's Julie, here's Mary. Does that sound like what you're looking for? That sounds like exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, great. Well, how about we go ahead and do an exam and I'll find out if I can find these root causes with you and we'll figure out if we can help you. Right. And they're going to say, absolutely. Right. Then you leave that day by giving them, okay, great. I think I can help you. What I'm going to need is I'm going to need a day to look over these results and really kind of work this up and figure out how I can help you best. And I'll come up with a customized plan for you. But let's go ahead and give you a test treatment to see how this is going to work for you, right? And this is where you want to have something, right? Whether it's a mini facial at a med spa, or you have a shockwave machine or a soft wave machine at your chiropractic office, and you can give people this experience where they actually feel a change, or they look in the mirror and they see an immediate change, so that when they come back the next day, they're already thinking, this works. This person is going to help me. Right. So you give them that. And then before they leave, you say, before you leave, I want to give you a gift. And you give them a swag bag. And we won't go into the details of a swag bag, but now you've given them water. You've given them this. Everything else has been an amazing experience. And you're giving them a gift before they leave of, perhaps a t-shirt, perhaps you're going to have coupons in there with your referral partners within the community. You're going to have all these gifts where they can get deals. They can get all these extra benefits just by doing business with you. So that's just day one, right? And what we want to do is we want to make sure that they are excited to come back for day two, right? And you set this up like you have control of this, right?
And so you're going to have something. So you don't always, sometimes depending on what you're going to do, you're not always going to do a treatment on day one, but you do want to set the stage for them to come back to day two, and wait till you come back tomorrow. You're going to get really, whatever it is. You want to set the stage to get them excited for this experience that you're going to bring them through.
Yeah. And so, we've been trying to keep these episodes shorter for those of you listening. And I'm going to check in with Jennifer right now to see if she feels like we should go. Should we switch to a next episode to finish up the rest of the journey and let people, basically tune in for the next episode to get what else you can do here?
Yep. We're at the end right now. So we're setting the stage. So right now we've just brought them in to the day one, and we're answering the phone correctly. We're taking call control on the phone. We're professional schedulers, and we have a set process for our day one where we have a script and we have a defined protocol that we do with every single patient. And everyone on the staff is trained on this, and they understand the reasoning for it and the why.
Yep. Okay, so stay tuned for the next episode. The next episode, we're going to go through what are the things you can do after that first day visit, after you've given them the swag bag. Guys, go to superclinicproject.com. You can join our mastermind there. You can subscribe there. And there's even tools that can help you share this podcast. And as I want to remind you, there is a fee for this podcast, and that fee is to share this with your friends. We're giving you value, so share it. Give back by sharing this with your friends who own clinics. And let's make the world a better place by helping get people healthy, helping people feel good about themselves. And I want to see you guys sharing this so that we know you're not just sucking all the life out of us. Show us that you love this. And we will see you on the next one, superclinicproject.com, and we'll see you on the next one.
You've been listening to the Super Clinic Project podcast. If you like what you hear, subscribe and stay tuned for further episodes of the Super Clinic Project podcast.